So, in the previous class, we were discussing about what? The double fertilization and triple fusion, right? So, let us continue the next part of the same thing, that is post fertilization structures and event. So, in the post fertilization structures and event, now we shall start with the discussion of what? The embryo. Okay. Ultimately, by means of double fertilization and triple fusion, what will be formed? The embryo will, the zygote will be formed first of all. That zygote will develop into an embryo. And by means of triple fusion, the primary endosperm nucleus will be formed, which will ultimately give rise to the endosperm. And you already know the endosperm is what? The nutritive tissue for the developing embryo. About this all things we have discussed in the previous video, right? So, coming to the next part of the same thing, that is post fertilization structures and event, in particular the dicot embryo. Okay, as you already know about the different types of embryos, okay, monocot embryos exist as well as dicot embryos exist. And coming to the first one, that is dicot embryo. Dicot embryo is a typical dicotyledonous embryo which consists of an embryonal axis and two cotyledons. Okay. Very importantly, in case of dicot embryo, what will be there? Cotyledon number will be 2. That is why it has got the name dicot. Okay. There will be presence of two cotyledons. And both the cotyledons will be present together along with what? An embryonal axis. Okay. Next, both these cotyledons are present together, which are attached to, okay, which are attached to plumule, and next they will be giving rise to what? The radicle. Okay. The plumule and radicle will also be formed. The portion of embryonal axis above the level of cotyledons is called epicotyle. Okay. The portion of embryonal axis, is that clear? The portion of embryonal axis above what? The cotyledons is termed as what? The epicotyle. Epi means above, as you have already known, okay, already been very familiar with the word epi. Epi means what? Above. Okay. Above the cotyledons is called as epicotyle, which terminates with what? The plumule or stem tip. Okay. See here, these are the cotyledons which I am showing here by the pointer, and both the cotyledons will get connected to what? The shoot tip. Okay. Okay, which is called as what? Plumule, and both are connected to what? Epicotyle. Next, the cylindrical portion below the level of cotyledons is called hypocotyle. Okay, the cylindrical portion you can see in the diagram. Okay, in the image you can see. Okay, in the image you can see that the below level of the cotyledons, okay, that itself is called as what? Hypocotyle. You can see the hypocotyle here, right? And these are the two important points to be noted, that is epicotyle, which is present above the level of cotyledons, and hypocotyle is present below the level of cotyledons, right? And the hypocotyle terminates at its lower end with the help of what? Radicle. Okay. The hypocotyle at its upper end will have the plumule, and at its lower end it will have the radicle. And as you have already been very familiar with the plumule and radicle, okay, the plumule give rise to shoot system and radicle give rise to root system. Okay, plumule is the structure which will further develop into shoot system, that is the part of the plant body present above the ground level. Okay, what is shoot system? It is the part of the plant body that develops above the ground level, and it is originated from the structure called plumule. Okay. And what about the radicle? Radicle is the lower part of the hypocotyle, which will give rise to the root system. Okay, which will give rise to what? The root system. Plumule give rise to shoot system, and radicle give rise to root system. Coming to the next important point here, the radicle, no doubt it give rise to root system, but the roots are positively geotropic. That means the roots will be developing inside the earth or towards the earth or towards the soil. Since the roots are developing towards the soil or towards the earth, they have to be protected properly. For the protection, what will have? The radicle will be given with a particular hard cap or covering called as a root cap. Okay, the radicle will be developing towards the earth. Okay, that is why to get protected, it will be covered by what? The cap like structure, which can be called as root cap. The root cap not only protects the radicle, but it also helps for penetration inside the soil. Okay, it also helps for penetration of the root system into the soil. Okay, during the penetration, the soil particles may damage the root. That is why the root cap will be present, which allows or which avoids the damage of this particular root system, that is penetrating the soil, right? And ultimately the shoot system and root system will be formed by means of plumule and radicle respectively. And these cotyledons, okay, these cotyledons will be ultimately what? Helping out for the development. Okay, coming to the next one, that is monocot embryo. In the dicot embryo, you have seen presence of two cotyledons. Okay, then what about monocot embryo? Monocot embryo is the one in which only one cotyledon will be present. Okay, it is an embryo in which only one cotyledon will be present, and it is commonly found in the grass family, okay, or the grass family. Okay, and in case of grass family, this particular monocot is called as what? Monocot embryo is called as scutellum. Okay, the part of monocot embryo in case of grass family is called as scutellum. Okay, and at the lower end, the embryonal axis has radicle and root cap enclosed in an undifferentiated sheath called as coleorhiza. See here, in the base region, if you observe, I am showing the same with the pointer. If you observe at the base region, okay, what is there? In the lower embryonal axis, okay, the root cap is enclosed by undifferentiated sheath of cells. Okay, that undifferentiated sheath of cells which encloses or which covers the root cap is called what? Coleorhiza. Okay, and at the above level it is called as coleoptile. Okay, at the above level it is called coleoptile, and at the below level it is called as coleorhiza. Right. The portion of embryonal axis above the level of attachment of the scutellum is epicotyle. See here, above the level of scutellum, that means scutellum, after the level of scutellum, okay, whatever comes here, so that will be called as what? Epicotyle. Okay, epicotyle. Then in case of the dicot embryo, you have seen the hypocotyle, and here particularly we can find two other structures called as coleoptile and coleorhiza. Coleorhiza is the undifferentiated sheath that covers, okay, the root cap. Okay, an undifferentiated sheath that covers the root cap, that is called coleorhiza. Okay, and see here, one important point is there. Epicotyle has a shoot apex and few leaf primordia. Very importantly, epicotyle have got what? The shoot apex and few leaf primordia enclosed in a hollow foliar structure called as coleoptile. See, this is the shoot apex, and the leaf primordia will be there here in this particular region, shoot apex and leaf primordia. And do remember, what are leaf primordia? Primordia means what? Very primitive structures. And the primitive structures of leaf are called as leaf primordia. The primitive leaf structures, or else the leaf structure which will be giving rise to, or the structure which give rise to the leaf system, is called as what? The leaf primordia, that encloses a foliar structure. Okay, foliar structure means what? Leaf like structure. Okay, leaf-like structure. So that is called as what? Coleoptile. Okay, it is called as coleoptile, which covers the what? Shoot apex and the primordia. Right. At the lower level, what will be present? Coleorhiza will be present, that covers the root and the root system. Okay. Very simple. I'll repeat the same thing. Nodri. Monocot embryo means it is having only one cotyledon. In case of grass family, this can be called as scutellum. And the root system and shoot system will be present as it is, and the root system and the root cap will be covered by undifferentiated sheath called as coleorhiza, and the leaf system or shoot apex and the leaf primordia on the other hand will be covered by undifferentiated sheath, that is called as what? Coleoptile. Clear? It is coleoptile and here it is coleorhiza. So these are what the monocot and dicot embryos. Coming to the next one, that is seed. Okay, post fertilization structures and event. In that, the next one is seed. So what about the seed and what about the embryo, monocot or dicot embryo? Embryo will be present inside the seed. Okay, do remember, embryo will be present inside the seed, and the embryo is protected by hard structure, okay, which will be nothing but what? The seed. The ovule develop into seed and ovary develop into what? The fruit, as we have already discussed in our previous video, right? So here the seed is nothing but what? It is a fertilized ovule. Very importantly, remember what is a seed? It is the structure developed by means of fertilized ovule, right? And mature seeds may be non-albuminous that have no residual endosperm. Remember that if there is no endosperm or if there is no remaining endosperm or extra endosperm that is left over, then that type of seeds are called as what? Non-albuminous seeds. Okay, as we have already discussed, two types of seeds will be there. Okay, endosperm may be completely consumed by the embryo, and in some cases the endosperm will be retained. Okay, so as we have discussed, based upon that only, the seeds can also be divided into two types. The first one is non-albuminous seeds, in which there will be no remaining endosperm, and in second one the endosperm will be remaining. Okay, and the seeds which have got no residual endosperm are called as non-albuminous seeds. Okay, wherein which the endosperm is completely consumed by the embryo during the development. Say for example, in case of pea plant and groundnut, there will be no residual what? Endosperm. Okay, and the next one is albuminous seeds retain a part of endosperm as it is not completely used up during the embryo development. That means in some of the seeds, what will happen? The endosperm which is produced by the primary endosperm nucleus, that will not be completely utilized by the what? The zygote during the embryogenesis. So a part of what will be remaining? A part of endosperm will be remaining as it is, and that type of seeds in which they contain a part of the endosperm are called as albuminous seeds. Say for example, in case of wheat, maize, then barley and castor, you can find the endosperm which will be remaining. So they are belonging to what? Albuminous seed group. And do remember that one very important point is there. So I have written it as what? A note. In some seeds such as black pepper, you have already have been very familiar with the black pepper. In case of black pepper and beet, the remnants of nucellus are also persistent. That means what is nucellus? It is a nutritive covering layer around what? The embryo sac. Okay, nutritive covering layer around the embryo sac. We have already studied the same thing with the help of diagram in the previous video. Okay, that nucellus may also be persistent in some cases. If the nucellus is present, then that particular persistent nucellus or residual nucellus is termed as what? Perisperm. Okay. The persistent nucellus is termed as perisperm. Okay. See, if the endosperm is remaining, then they are called as albuminous seeds. If the endosperm is not there, if it is completely used up, then it is called non-albuminous seeds. Like the same, if the nucellus is remaining or if the nucellus is present, then they are called as what? Perisperm. Okay, it is called as perisperm. And another note is there, very important point. The embryo may enter a state of inactivity. Say for example, in your home, you do have the jawar and the wheat. Okay, when you keep the wheat, okay, in a boxes in your home, when you preserve them or when you stock them, okay, they will never ever germinate. But the same wheat, okay, the same wheat grains, if you sow them in the soil, okay, if you sow them in the soil, immediately they start sprouting and they will germinate. Right. When they are stored in your box in the home, then what will happen? They will not be active. Okay. It means that they are not dead. Okay. It means they are not dead, they are alive, but they are under a particular condition called as dormancy condition. So what is this dormancy condition? It is nothing but a state of inactivity or a state of rest in which the embryo will be. Embryo will be in the state of rest. So that resting stage of the embryo or the seeds is called as dormancy. And usually dormancy will be assumed or attained by the seeds when there is no favorable condition. Okay? If there is no favorable condition, then dormancy will be attained by that particular embryo and the seeds. Say for example, in your home itself, when you store the wheat grains in a boxes, okay, in the box, the moisture content and the water content will be very less, and even the soil will not be there. So they will be acting as unfavorable conditions for the particular seed. That is why in your box, okay, the wheat grains will not germinate. To the same wheat grains, if you provide the soil and water, okay, if you provide the soil and water and adequate moisture, then what will happen? Immediately they start sprouting. Okay. This clearly tells us that the particular seeds will undergo the process of what? Dormancy, to get escaped from what? Harsh climatic conditions. Okay. When the climatic conditions or when the favorable conditions occur, okay, soon they get the favorable condition, they will start germinating. That means they will come out of the what? Dormancy condition. When they come out of the dormancy condition, they will start germinating immediately. Clear? Coming to the next one, the integuments of ovules. See, the ovule will become what? Seed. And what about the coverings of the ovule, which are called as integuments? They will become hardened and tough protective seed coats. Okay. Whatever seed coats you can find in the seeds, the seed coat is nothing but what? The hardened integuments that are present around the what? The embryo sac. Okay. Ovule will be covered by integuments, the outer integument and inner integument. Two integuments will be there which are covering layers of the ovule. And when the ovule develop into seed, okay, when the ovule develop into seed after fertilization, at the same time the integuments which covers the ovule, okay, the integuments which covers the ovule, they will become seed coats. Okay. When you get any of the seed and if you find the seed coat, that seed coat is nothing but what? The integument which is hardened. Clear? Next, see, next point. As the seeds mature, its water content will be reduced and the seed become relatively dry, just 10 to 15% of the moisture by mass. Okay. See, when the seeds are dried up completely, okay, they will be having very little quantity of moisture inside them, so that the embryo can be alive. Only that much of moisture will be there, and except that the complete moisture will be lost. Okay, that is why the weight of the seed will reduce. Okay, when it gets dried up completely, the weight will be reduced. Clear? And this dryness will induce what? The dormancy in the seeds. The gradual dryness of the seeds will induce what? Dormancy period. Okay. At the same time, when the particular conditions such as adequate moisture, oxygen and sustainable and suitable temperature arise, then what will happen? The moisture content will be increased and this particular seed will start germinating. Okay. Then look at the last point. As the ovules mature into seeds, the ovary develop into fruit. Okay, that you already know. The ovule develop into seed and the ovary will develop into fruit. Is that clear? So coming to the next one, that is fruit. So what are fruits? These are the structures, okay, which are developed by the ripened, okay, which are developed by the fertilized ripened ovary. Okay, if you want to define a fruit, then you can define it as what? The fertilized ripened ovary. Okay, the fertilized ripened ovary is nothing but what? Fruit. Okay, look at the first point. In most of the plants, by the time the fruit develops from ovary, other floral parts will be degenerated and fall off. Okay, so you have already seen in many of the flowering plants where soon after formation of the fruit or soon after the fertilization and the development of embryo, one by one the floral whorls will start getting degenerated. Okay, in some cases, okay, in some cases the calyx, that means outermost whorl of the flower, it may be persistent, as in case of what? The brinjal. In case of brinjal, the green calyx will be attached to the fruit continuously. Is that clear? It will not be removed. But in case of apple, have you seen any of such things? No, because in case of apple, what will happen? In case of apple and even mango, what will happen? The last part, that means the calyx will be degenerated and it will be fallen off. But in case of brinjal, it will be persistent. That is why in case of brinjal, the calyx is called as persistent calyx. Is that clear? In brinjal, it is called persistent calyx because in case of brinjal, the calyx will not fall off. Calyx will not fall off and it will not get degenerated. It will remain attached to the fruit continuously. Clear? Next one. See, however, in few species such as apple, strawberry, cashew, etc., the thalamus also contributes to the fruit formation. Such fruits are called as false fruits. See, do remember that apple if you consider, okay, strawberry if you consider, and cashew nut if you consider, they will form the false fruit. ಯಾಕೆ ಅವಕ್ಕೆ false fruit ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? Why they are called as false fruit? Okay, because in actual sense, what is fruit? It is the fertilized ripened ovary. Is that clear? If the fruit is formed by means of ovary, then it is true fruit. Okay, if the fruit is formed by the ovary, then it is called true fruit. If the fruit is not formed by the ovary, instead if it is formed by the thalamus, that means if the fruit is formed by the thalamus or base of the flower, then that type of fruits are called as what? False fruits or pseudo fruits they are called. Okay, see, in case of apple, strawberry and cashews, what will happen? The ovary will not develop into fruit, instead the thalamus will develop into fruits. Okay, that is why they are called as what? False fruits. Okay, and most fruits however develop only from the ovary, they are called as what? True fruits. Is that clear? Then next point, although in most of the species the fruits are results of what? Fertilization. There are a few species in which fruits develop without fertilization. See, very important point it is. In case of all the plants, almost most of the cases, what happens? Fruit will be developed after fertilization only. But in some cases, the fruit will be developed before or even without fertilization. Okay, ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಕಡೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗೋದು ಓನ್ಲಿ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್. But in few cases, the fruit will be developed without fertilization also. And the fruits which are developed without fertilization are called as what? Parthenocarpic fruits. Very important point it is to remember. The fruits which are produced without fertilization are called as parthenocarpic fruit. What is parthenocarpy? Development without fertilization. Okay, development without fertilization is termed as parthenocarpy, and the fruits which are produced without fertilization are called as parthenocarpic fruits. Clear? And the best example for parthenocarpic fruit is banana. In case of banana, you could never see the development of seeds. Why the seeds are not formed there in the banana? Because in case of banana, the fruit is developed without fertilization. If fertilization do not occur, then what will happen? The ovules will never undergo fertilization. If ovules are developed without fertilization, they will never transform into what? The seeds. Only after fertilization, ovule can get transformed into seeds. Is that clear? So this is how in different organisms what will be developing. The seeds are developing without fertilizations. Gottaita? In case of different plants, the seeds are, even you can take the example of seedless grape. Okay, seedless grapes are also an example for what? Parthenocarpic fruits. The next point, the seeds have better adaptive strategies for dispersal. Remember that this is very important point. So if in a plant, if the plant want to disperse its seeds, okay, it cannot go and sow its seeds and in different places, because the plant will be attached firmly to the soil. That is why the plant will develop certain mechanisms by means of which they can spread their seeds to a very distant areas. Okay, so in case of the seeds, they show better adaptive strategies for dispersal to new habitats and help the species to colonize in other areas. As they have sufficient food reserves, young seedlings are nourished until they are capable of photosynthesis. Right? In case of, say for example, in case of bendi, okay, the lady's finger, what you call it as bendi. So if you have properly weaved, or if you have properly observed that bendi, okay, if you dry it properly, then what will happen? It will get completely dried up. And to completely dried up the bendi or the lady's finger, if you apply a little bit of water, then it will burst out, or it will spread like what? A particular flower which will blossom in few fraction of seconds. Okay, it will burst open to release the seeds. Okay, ಅದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, burst open ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And at the same time, you might have seen in case of calotropis, okay, in case of calotropis, the seeds dispersal or seed dispersal will be very unique. Okay, in case of calotropis, the seed dispersal is very unique. What happens in case of calotropis? Okay, white colored, okay, flying, okay, structures can be seen, which are called as pollinia. Okay, so that type of seed dispersal is seen. Clear? So in different organisms or in different plants, different types of seed dispersal can be seen. Clear? The hard seed coat, next point, the hard seed coat provides protection to the embryo. Being products of the sexual reproduction, they generate new genetic recombinations. See, the seed coat provides protection, and at the same time, being a product of sexual reproduction, that means seeds are the products of sexual reproduction. That is why the seeds may bring about what? The different variations in that particular plant. Clear? Right? Next one, very important point here. See, in few species, the seeds lose viability within few months. That means, even though they are present in their dormant condition, okay, their dormancy period will be lost very soon, and the seeds will become what? Wasted, or their viability will be lost. That means, after certain period of time, even though if you give all the favorable conditions, they could not grow. That means the seeds will lose their viability. Okay, they will be dead, right? But in some of the seeds, okay, in some of the seeds, okay, the viability will be remaining for a longer time. The viability will be remaining for the longer time. And the very important point here is, see, the oldest of that is the lupine. The scientific name of the plant is Lupinus arcticus, which is excavated from Arctic tundra, and the seed germinated and flowered after an estimated record of 10,000 years of dormancy. In case of Lupinus arcticus, the seed dormancy was found to be what? Present till 10,000 years. Okay, even after 10,000 years, this particular plant have even given the seeds, and the seeds which were present, they have been germinated and they have been even given to the plant, as well as they started to flower, right? Okay. In case of this particular plant, that is Lupinus arcticus, the seed was excavated, and the seed which was excavated in the Arctic tundra, it was found to be older than that of what? Around 10,000 years. This older particular seed, which was obtained by means of excavation, when it was cultivated or when it was sown, it has given rise to the plant successfully even after the dormancy period of 10,000 years, right? For the NEET examination, for the seat examination, this question is very, very important. Okay, the question will be like, what? Name the oldest, okay, name the oldest seed that is germinated even after 10,000 years of dormancy. Okay, name the oldest viable seed. You may ask with, okay, you may get the question like this. Name the oldest viable seed. Okay, the oldest viable seed is what? Of the plant Lupinus arcticus, right? Next, another point here, a recent record of 2000 years old viable seed is also seen, which is of a date palm. Okay, a date palm by the name Phoenix dactylifera. Okay, a date palm by the name Phoenix dactylifera, okay, discovered during archaeological excavation at King Herod Palace near the Dead Sea, have shown its viability even after 2000 years. And here the question arises, okay, of the place where exactly Lupinus arcticus was found and where exactly the Phoenix dactylifera was found, right? The question will be on the place even. Okay, ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಓನ್ಲಿ ಸೀಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೇಳಿದರೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಮೇಲೇನೂ ಕೇಳುವಂಥ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ಈವನ್ ದ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್, okay, even the question may be asked on the particular place, okay, where exactly that particular seed was discovered. Is that clear? So coming to the last part of the chapter, that is apomixis and polyembryony. Okay, apomixis and polyembryony, very important point here. What is apomixis? See, although the seeds in general are products of fertilization, a few flowering plants such as some species of asteraceae and grasses, they have evolved a special mechanism to produce seeds without fertilization. Okay, see, if the fruits are produced without fertilization, they are called as parthenocarpic fruits. Okay, fruits produced without fertilization are called as parthenocarpic fruits. At the same time, if the seeds are produced without fertilization, then they are called as what? The apomixis. okay, then it is called as apomixis. The condition is called as apomixis. Okay, the production of seeds without fertilization. Okay, the mechanism of production of seeds without fertilization is termed as what? Apomixis. Okay, and more often, as in case of citrus and mango, the flowers are set of sexual reproduction in angiosperms, and varieties of some nuclear cells, okay, surrounding the embryo sac start dividing and protrude into the embryo sac and develop into the embryos. In such species, each ovule contains many embryos, and occurrence of more than one embryo in a seed is termed as what? Polyembryony. Okay. These two are very important 1-mark questions in your theory as well as in your competitive examinations. Okay. In which of the plant groups apomixis is seen, or apomixis means dash? They will give the option, okay, fertilization without seeds, seeds without fertilization, and seeds without fruits, and fruits without fertilization. The answer is seeds without fertilization, like that, right? And what about polyembryony? By the name itself you can identify what is the condition. Okay, poly means many, embryony it means in a single seed, okay, in a single seed what will happen? Many embryos can be produced. Okay, in a single seed many embryos can be obtained. So that particular condition is called as what? Polyembryony. And this completes the chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, this completes the synopsis part of the sexual reproduction in flowering plants, and let us continue with the questionnaire. Okay, let us continue with the question bank of the same thing. Let us start with what? The solving the questions of the same thing. Hello students, Manjunath here. So in this video let us discuss about what? The questionnaire of the particular chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants, right? So coming to the first question, that is, this is a character of flower. This is a character of flower. Option A, presence of condensed axis. Option B, showing limited growth. Option C, taking part in sexual reproduction. Option D, all the above. See, when we have discussed about the flower, okay, when we have discussed about the flower, and it is made very clear that the flower is highly modified shoot system meant for sexual type of reproduction. So in the flower we have already discussed, okay, in the flower there will be presence of 4 whorls, okay, there will be presence of 4 whorls, so that it is condensed in nature and it shows limited growth. That means the flower will not again give rise to any branches or something, or it will not continue to grow in its size, it will be limited growth. Okay, then it take part in sexual reproduction. So since all these 3 holds good for the flower, so the character of flower is what? All the above. Coming to the next question, the idea of, okay, the idea that flower is modified shoot was expressed by, okay, the idea that flower is modified shoot was expressed by, see, flower is a modified shoot system which is meant for sexual reproduction. According to the definition we say that, and that particular idea was expressed by which all the scientists. Okay, see here, do remember the idea that flower is modified shoot system was expressed by all the scientists, that is Linnaeus, then Gaspard, and the De Candolle and Goethe. All of them have agreed that the flower is modified shoot system. Okay, that is why all of them have agreed and they have accepted that flower is the modified shoot system. So the option D will be the answer. Okay, I'll just start marking them. So in the first one again D is the answer, in the second one D is the answer, right? Then what is the third question? pericarp of fruit develops from? Okay, it's a direct question. What is pericarp? The remaining part of nucellus after fertilization. Okay, post fertilization structures, okay, where in which the remaining part of nucellus, okay, is called as what? The pericarp. Okay, pericarp is what? The remaining part of nucellus. Right. Coming to the next question. The total number of sets of floral leaves present in a normal flower is? Okay. Total number of sets of floral leaves, that means the floral whorls. How many floral whorls will be present in a flower? As we have already discussed, how many floral whorls will be there? There are 4 floral whorls will be there. Which are they? 2 are essential whorls and 2 are accessory whorls. And essential whorls are androecium and gynoecium. Accessory whorls are what? The calyx and corolla. So, in total, a total of 4 whorls will be present. Right. Coming to the next question. The first and second whorls of the flower respectively consists of first and second whorl. That means the outer and inner. Okay, the outermost will be calyx. Okay, and next to that comes the corolla. Next to that comes the androecium, and the innermost is gynoecium. So, according to that, see, I will write it here. The first outermost layer is what? Calyx. Okay, Cl, I will write it here in short. Okay, then next inner one is what? That is corolla. That is Co, I will write it. Okay, corolla. Then comes the androecium. Then comes the gynoecium. Right. So, like this, the calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium will be arranged in the flower. So, outermost layer is what? The calyx. Okay, and next outermost layer is corolla. And inner layer is what? Or inner whorl is androecium. Innermost whorl is what? Gynoecium. So, here what they have asked, the first and second whorls of the flower respectively consists of, right, that is calyx and corolla. Let us see the options: calyx, androecium, corolla and calyx, corolla, androecium, calyx and corolla. So, option D, it is there here, calyx and corolla. Outermost layer, first outermost layer is calyx and next comes the corolla. Right. Coming to the next question, that is sixth one. Both calyx and corolla together known as, okay, both calyx and corolla together known as. This is also a direct question which we have already discussed. Okay, calyx and corolla are together known as option A, perianth, option B, the chlamydon, then option C, non-essential organs, option D, all of them. Okay, here see, calyx and corolla together they are called as what? The perianth, as you already know. And do remember, the perianth is also called as chlamydion. Okay, and they are non-essential organs also, right? That is why the option here will be what? The D again, that is all of them. Coming to the next question. Essential organs of the flower are present in one of the following whorls. Essential organs means what? The reproductive structures, that is androecium and gynoecium. Just look into the option where the androecium and gynoecium are there. In the first one, calyx and androecium, second corolla calyx, then fourth one gynoecium corolla, and in the third one gynoecium and androecium. So, these two are what? The essential whorls of the flower. Okay, essential whorls of the flower are androecium and gynoecium. So, the option is C. A bisexual flower is dash. Okay, the next question is, a bisexual flower is, okay, complete, incomplete, usually incomplete, rarely complete, then complete or incomplete. Do remember that a bisexual flower, okay, a bisexual flower may be complete or incomplete. Why? Because, okay, the option is Option D, it may be complete or incomplete. Why it may be complete or incomplete? It is a very simple thing here. In case of bisexual flower, okay, do remember, bisexual means both male and female gamete producing structures will be present, no doubt. Both male and female gamete producing structures will be present, but the thing is, in case of bisexual flower, both will be present, but if both the male and female reproductive structures are present, then we cannot call it as complete flower. When we can call a flower as a complete one? Only if all the four whorls are present. Okay? We can call a flower as a complete one only if it has got all the four whorls. In the bisexual flower, okay, both male and female reproductive structures will be present, no doubt. But in case of bisexual flower, whether the calyx and corolla will be present or not. Okay. Say for example, in the grass, okay, in the grass where the flower do not have any corolla, is that clear? The brightly colored part or brightly colored whorl, it will not be there. Then can it be called as a complete flower? No. Like the same, a bisexual flower may be complete or incomplete, because if it contains the other accessory organs, then it can be called as complete. If the accessory whorls are absent, then it cannot be called as complete. So it will be complete or incomplete. Okay. If all the four whorls are present, it can be called as complete. If only two male and female reproductive structures are present, then we cannot call it as complete. Right. So next question, microsporophyll is, okay, microsporophyll is commonly known as, option A stamen, option B carpel, option D sepal, option C petal. First of all, petal, sepal have been cancelled. Carpel is the female reproductive part and carpel is called as megasporophyll, not the microsporophyll. So the option is A stamen. Stamen can be called as the microsporophyll. Clear? Next question, a dithecous anther, okay, a dithecous anther has dash. By the name itself we can guess very immediately. Here di means what? Two. Theca means bag like structure. The dithecous anther will have, okay, two lobes. Very simple. Okay. The dithecous anther will have two lobes. Okay. In case of angiosperms, the commonly occurring anther is what? Dithecous in nature. Okay. It will be having two lobes, and in each lobe what will be there? Two microsporangia will be there. Right. Next, coming to the next question, monothecous anthers are seen in, okay, monothecous anthers are seen in, as I have discussed in the previous video. Okay, the monothecous anthers will also be present in exceptional cases such as hibiscus. Directly the answer we have given here. Okay, cassia, datura and argemone, all these will have what? The dithecous anthers. And what about the monothecous anther? It will be found in the hibiscus. Okay, it will be found in the hibiscus. Coming to the next question, that is 12th one. In an angiosperm plant, the flowers are developed on. In an angiosperm plant, the flowers are developed on. Option A male gametophyte, option B thalamus, option C sporophyte, option D female gametophyte. Okay. See, very simple. What is the base of a flower called as? Okay. We have already discussed the base of the flower is called the thalamus, and the question is that only. In angiosperm, flowers are produced on means what? Okay, above the thalamus. Okay, above the thalamus the flower will be produced. That is how the thalamus will act as base. Is that clear? That is how the thalamus will act as base of the flower. Right. Coming to the next question. In angiosperms, the meiotic division takes place in Okay, in angiosperms, meiotic division takes place in option A, zygote, option B, spore mother cells, option C, gamete mother cells, option D, all. Do remember meiotic division I am telling. Okay, meiotic division means what? Okay, the reductional cell division, and you know that reductional cell division always takes place in the region where gamete formation will be taking place. During the gamete formation only, what will happen? The particular type of cell division called as meiotic cell division will be seen. So, zygote is diploid in nature, okay, where the mitotic cell division will be taking place. Spore mother cells will undergo mitotic cell division, and see gamete mother cells, they will show what? The particular type of cell division, that is reductional cell division, right. Next one. One of the following is developed from nucellus. Okay, one of the following is developed from what? Nucellus. Which one is developed from the nucellus? Right. Here, option A, male gamete, option B, female gamete, option C, zygote, option D, megaspore mother cell. Okay, which one of the following is developed from nucellus? Okay, 14th question. Which one of the following, or one of the following is developed from nucellus? Male gamete, female gamete, then zygote, then the megaspore mother cell. So, directly you can say that the nucellus will be, okay, giving rise to what? Megaspore mother cell. Okay. Next one. Haploid structure in the life cycle of an organism or of an angiosperm is haploid structure. Okay. Haploid means what? N number of chromosomes. Okay. In the haploid structure, that too particularly in the angiosperm, is the microspores, megaspores, male gametophyte, all. Okay. In case of all these, okay, haploid are what? Microspores, megaspores, male gametophyte, and all. Okay. The answer is all of the above. All of the above will be what? Haploid in nature. Coming to the next one. In the angiosperms, the adult sporophyte is directly formed from. Okay. In the angiosperms, adult sporophyte is directly formed from. Very simple thing. It is formed from the embryo. Okay. The plant will be developed from what? The embryo. Okay. By means of sexual reproduction, embryo will be formed, and this embryo itself will be giving rise to the sporophyte. Right. Coming to the next question. In angiosperms, the seed contains dash. Okay. The seed in the angiosperm contains option A, zygote, option B, seedling, option C, embryo, then option D, female gametophyte. Okay. In case of angiosperm, the seeds contain, okay, zygote, seedling, female gametophyte, and embryo. Okay. What is seed first of all? A seed is fertilized ovule. Okay. Fertilized ovule is called as seed, and inside the ovule what will be there? The egg cell will be there, and that egg cell after fertilization will develop into the zygote, right. That is why in angiosperm seed it contains, okay, zygote, which will develop into what? An embryo. Okay. Because soon after fertilization, when the seed develops, it will be forming into what? An embryo. Okay. Seeds contain embryo. Before the formation of seed, it will be in the form of zygote, but soon after the formation of seed, it will be formed, or it will be produced. What will be produced? Embryo will be produced, right. Then 18th question. Pollen grains are also known as option A, microspores, option B, megaspores, option C, microspore mother cell, option D, megaspore mother cell. You already know that pollen grains are the smaller microscopic structures, okay, that is why they are simply called as microspores. It is the other name of what? Pollen grains. Coming to the next question, 19th. The number of pollen sacs present in dithecous anther is, number of pollen sacs present in dithecous anther is Okay. How many pollen sacs will be there? Option A 2, option B 1, option C 3, option D 4. Okay. How many anther sacs will be there? Okay. Very simple. Or how many pollen sacs will be there? In case of Dithecus anther, 4 pollen sacs will be there. How 4? Because in each lobe 2 pollen sacs will be present. Right. Next question. Male gametes are formed by option A pollen grains, option B megaspores, option C tapetum, option D connective. Okay. Male gametes are formed by means of what? The pollen grains directly. Megaspore will give rise to the female gamete, and tapetum is a nutritive tissue, and connective is the tissue that will help for connection between the stalk of the anther and its lobe. Next one. This is not an integral part of anther wall. Option A sporogenous tissue, option B tapetum, option C middle layers, option D epidermis. See, you all remember that, okay, the wall of anther is made up of 4 layers of the cells. Outermost layer is epidermis, next comes the endothecium, next comes the middle layers, and innermost layer is tapetum. Okay. Here tapetum is there, epidermis is there, middle layers, all these 3 are what? They are the parts of the anther wall, but sporogenous tissue is not the part of anther wall. So, option A is the right answer. Next, stomium is an integral part of, okay, stomium is an integral part of, okay, directly you can name it as what? The epidermis. It is an integral part of what? Epidermis. Microspore mother cells show meiosis during the generation of. Microspore mother cells show meiosis during the degeneration of dash. Okay. Microspore mother cells show meiosis during the degeneration of option A tapetum, option B stomium, option C endothecium, option D middle layers. Okay. When exactly the microspore mother cells show the meiosis? Right. The answer is the first one, that is tapetum. Right. Next question, 24th. Fibrous thickening of, okay, fibrous thickening are present in dash. 24th one, fibrous thickening are present in dash. Very simple, a specialized layer that help for dehiscence of the anther, that is endothecium. In the endothecium you can see the fibrous thickenings. Okay. Next one, 25th. This multi-layered structure of an anther wall. Okay. This is multi-layered structure of anther wall. Okay. Multiple layers are present in the first one, that is middle layers only. Okay. Tapetum is single layered, epidermis is single layered, endothecium is single layered again. Okay. The only multiple layered, okay, cells or multiple layer structure is what? The middle layers.